Big Weir, roadrooter.com with your morning horn of Z's, your sip of coffee. So much going on today and this weekend. Finished a little road trip. Got a lot done, amazingly. Had a lot of fun and got a lot done. Ooh, is that a new song? Had a lot of fun, got a lot done. I have a rule. Here's a rule for all you road to rooter people who have invested in the cryptocurrencies. And it's a good rule, so listen up close. Crypto double, silver 10%. Okay? Crypto double equals silver 10%. Every time you double your investment in the cryptocurrencies, go out and take 10% of that profit and buy physical silver and put it in your stack of physical silver. It's the only way you're going to survive this. So even if, after a little while, even if the cryptos go to zero, anything is possible. I don't think they will. The prognostication of cryptos being the wave of the future is a good one. Cryptos are the wave of the future. It is another way to get past the bad guys, past the criminals, past the unbacked fiat monetary system. It was invented as a transition tool to something else. We don't know what that something is. But cryptos will be here in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. So you have to get in if you want to participate. But in the same time, in the same breath, cryptos are going to be crazy volatile. Crazy, as in crazy. So as a smart investor, as your investment grows older and matures and doubles and triples and quadruples, which the cryptocurrencies are doing right now, because you were so smart to get in at the very beginning, you need to start taking a little of that profit and stashing it aside. It's like those guys who go to the casino, and every time they win big, they take a little chip and they stick it in their pocket. And by the end of the night, when you run out of chips, which you always do, you're going to have a little stack of chips in your pocket. This is about stacking silver up. You can have a little stack of silver to ride you through the crypto craziness. I'm not saying cryptos will go away. A lot of them will. A lot of them are crazy to start with. Know what you're investing in. But in the same time, silver is the most undervalued asset in the world and has been for 150 years. So it is smart to take a little profit here and there. And I think when they double, that's a good time to take 10% off the table. When your cryptos double, take 10% of your profits and buy physical silver and tuck it away. Physical silver is still ridiculously low. So don't think of it as, oh, I'm cashing in. You're not cashing in. You're placing another bet on an asset that hasn't moved in a long time. And it's a smart move. All right? So cryptos double equal silver 10%. Physical silver 10%. Make sure it's physical, not SLV, not held by somebody else, anybody else. Held by yourself. Okay, there you go. That's your talk of the day. Here's why I'm saying this. Look at these numbers for Bitcoin. Bitcoin almost hit $3,000 yesterday. Almost. I think on some exchanges it did. It's 27.76 right now. It has gone up tremendously throughout this year, as all the cryptocurrencies have. But Bitcoin is moving, even though the problems are still out there, the scaling issue and all the issues that they're going to be saying for a while are still out there. Bitcoin is rolling. Once these issues get solved tick by tick by tick, you're going to see Bitcoin roll even more. And that which brings me to my second point, Ethereum. Ethereum is going to continue to roll and continue to see good news day after day after day after day after day. People are using Ethereum. It is a tool. They are using it to access the blockchain technology. So you're going to hear so much good news about Ethereum because every company in the world at some point will be using Ethereum. It'd be crazy not to. It's insane what's going on. And Ethereum is still unknown. Completely unknown to the majority of even the diehard tech people in Northern California and Silicon Valley. Most of them have no idea what Ethereum is. They've heard of Bitcoin. Some of them are into Bitcoin, but they don't know what Ethereum is. They can tell you, oh yeah, the blockchain is a great technology, but they don't know how to access it. They will, and they'll buy Ethereum just to access the technology aspects of Ethereum, and I can't say enough good things. The first big hurdle for Ethereum will be blown by the market cap of Bitcoin. Right now, Ethereum's at $36 billion, $37 billion, and Bitcoin's at $45 billion. Very soon, probably within June, Ethereum will be flying by the market cap of Bitcoin. It'll probably be up by $50 billion, and that's going to make the news, and that's going to have people thinking, well, if Bitcoin has problems, what's this Ethereum technology? What's that got to do with the blockchain? How can we use it as a company? And should I invest in that? And then they're going to see things in the headlines. GE has decided to use Ethereum for their new washing machine, high-tech, fintech. All this stuff is still to come with Ethereum. So, yeah, it's gone up massively. At the beginning of the year, it was like $10. And it's $300 and almost $400 now. It's insane. But you're in the beginning. You're at the ground floor of Ethereum. It's going to be around for decades. What are you going to do? How long have you heard me talk about it? I was screaming about it when it was under $10. Screaming. I have videos saying, just go to roadtoruta.com, the Road to Ruta YouTube channel, and look up Weir Ethereum or Road to Ruta Ethereum, and you're going to find all these videos. And all those videos are about what a great technology it is, and nobody knows about it. And yes, it is moving now. It is big money wants to get in, as in big, big, big money, hedge fund money, banker money, central banker money. Think about that. Retirement funds the cryptos will be open at some point to these all the retirement fund managers. And the key to that, because if they don't, these retirement funds are going to go bankrupt really fast because they're all very, very, very low on their they should have huge balances right now to cover, but they're not. They're underfunded massively, and there's news today about that. I'll go over a little bit of that on Zero Hedge. But when it opens up to the cryptos, that's another trillions and trillions of dollars available to go into Bitcoin, Ethereum. They'll probably start with like the higher market caps. They'll probably have rules about, okay, you can't buy a cryptocurrency that's less than $1 billion market cap. Well, if you look at the market caps right there, that only leaves the top 7 at the current moment. So once this opens up, it's going to be a flood of money going through that little funnel into the cryptos. So, yes, the cryptos have a long way to go. Will it be volatile? Yes. Will it drop by 50% and scare off people? Of course it will. At some point it will. That's what happens. So if you pull out, every time you double your money in the cryptos, you pull out 10%, put it in physical silver, you're not going to care. After a while, you're not going to care if the cryptos crash, because then the only asset left will be silver, and everybody will try to be getting into silver. You got to think 2 steps ahead, my friends. And very soon, the silver manipulation will end. And I feel it in my bones. I can't tell you what day, but it's very soon. There's so much information coming out about manipulation and busting the manipulators and stopping the manipulators and the lack of silver available. And Cliff was talking about the silver they need at CERN. Huge amounts of silver at CERN. And I want to be involved with silver if you got the richest people in the world trying to get their hands on all the silver they can get. So, yes, 2x cryptos equals 10% physical silver. Make it happen. All right, that's enough of that. Now let's go to Zero Hedge, our friends at Zero Hedge, and here's what's going on. Madoff whistleblower Harry Markopolos has uncovered a new fraud. There are lots of Ponzi's, Markopolos said, and they are stealing customers from legitimate managers. He's talking about the pension funds, all these underfunded pension funds who are soaking up all these fees. They can't pay. They can't pay the pensions. They're underfunded. If you have a pension and you have a company who's managing that pension for you, ask them, is my pension 100% funded? I'll guarantee you it's not. It's not even close. But they're going to tell you they are, because they lie, they cheat, and steal about the amount of money they're going to make in the future. I heard the average retirement fund for pensions needs to have at least a 6% return to fund their outgoing obligations. They're not making that. They're not making anything on interest, so they have to do crazy things, and they're hiring insane people to run their book who lie and cheat and steal about their accounting. These hedge funds, a lot of these pensions invest in hedge funds because they think they can get 10, 20% returns to make up for the gap that they're leaving in other places. It's not happening, but they report it on their books. So the Madoff whistleblower Harry Markopoulos is going to go after him. Awesome, good job. I hope Harry made a whole lot of money off the Madoff thing because there's a whistleblower reward, and he's the guy who blew the roof off of that. I mean, I don't know how much he got paid out, but he should have got paid out a whole lot of money from the federal government. Federal government, it was their responsibility. And we all know, if you have done any research at all, JP Morgan was knee-deep in it. Knee-deep in Bernie Madoff. They were the only banker of Bernie Madoff. They knew everything that was going on, and it wasn't a $50 billion Ponzi. It was a $500 billion backdoor bad guy funding mechanism that they lied when they said it was $50 billion. No, it was run by the Mossad, and do your research on this. And JP Morgan was their banker, was the Bernie Madoff banker, and nothing happened to JP Morgan. I think they paid a couple $100 million fine. Nothing. Nobody went to jail. When you know billions are flowing through, your job is to know your customer, and they didn't say a word. Why isn't Jamie Dimon in jail today? Crazy stuff. All right. We've lost all sense of the common good. The common good cannot possibly be served by ceding power to privately owned, profit-maximizing corporations and self-serving state elites. The only way to rebuild a common good is to radically decentralize political, financial, and media concentrations of ownership and power. Yes and no. I'd say yes and no. We're not talking socialism. We can see Bernie Madoff, Bernie Sanders, the other con artist. I love Bernie. He wants to give everybody free stuff. Who doesn't love that? How fast would that crash the U.S. dollar? Look at Venezuela. Now, Bernie said when he started running for president, he said, we need to look at the South American countries and how they run their business. Look, they're doing great. Their people are loving them. Venezuela is a great example. Bernie Sanders said Venezuela is a great example. Now we see what happens when socialism kicks in, leading, on the way to communism is what's happening right now. And it destroys everything. Everything. People eat their pets and the farm animals, and they still can't survive. So now we have no zoos and no pets in Venezuela. People starving in the streets, all because the government was seen as someone great because they gave free stuff to people. The insane thing is watching the left say, "Oh, we deserve free healthcare." Well, who's going to pay the doctor? Who's going to pay? Doctors go to school and they work really hard, but they don't get any money. And then, of course, the socialists will say, "Oh, no, they'll get paid. They'll get paid the same amount." Well, who's going to pay them? Well, the rich people will pay them. Well, how did the rich people get rich? They invested and they did the right thing for the most part. Yeah, the criminals should go to jail, but the people who work the hardest get the most. That's the way it should be, because that's the way a society gets stronger. And there is a trickle-down effect, not the kind that Reagan was trying to put together. Reagan's pure motive was to destroy the monetary system, destroy the U.S. dollar, crash the system, and return to a gold standard. That's why he introduced trickle-down economics. That's why Star Wars happened, where he spent billions of dollars theoretically on nothing. Anyway, long story short, socialism doesn't work. Look at Venezuela as a great example. Now, where we are is a very problematic place because all the criminals have stolen all the money. And they're sitting there in the background with all the unbacked fiat things we call money these days, and they're not sharing. They're trying to hoard it up. The only way to get rid of them is to destroy the system. Destroy everything. Bring it all down. Let the derivative bubble crash. Every bank goes down. Every unbacked electronic piece of crap is disappeared, and we can start fresh. It's a one-time event, my friends, to get the money out of the hands of the criminals. A one-time event, a creative destruction event, like Alan Greenspan. I look up here, Alan Greenspan, because I have his book right up there. He wrote in his first book, we need a creative destruction event, something to destroy everything, and it's a good thing because then we can reallocate money according to what you've already paid in was Alan Greenspan's plan. Use Social Security as a measure of what people have already paid into the system. Read the Road to Ruta stuff and you get that idea. All right, let's see what else exciting. Gartman is saying the NASDAQ one day will collapse, but buying today on weakness should be wise. Remember, do everything the opposite of what Gartman said. Everything, always, and you'll make a ton of money. Maryland, D.C. Attorney Generals to file lawsuit against Trump. Here we go again. Clearly, the Russia narrative has been dying on the vine in the last couple days. The Attorney General of Maryland and the District of Columbia plan to file a lawsuit on Monday, the Washington Post reported late on Sunday, alleging that foreign payments to Donald Trump's businesses violate the U.S. Constitution. The lawsuit is to be announced at noon on Monday. If anything violates the U.S. Constitution that Trump's old business does, then it's his lawyers who screwed up. But they stuck everything into a trust, and I believe they should have done it all legally, and I thought they already did. If they did or if they didn't, if Trump is still controlling those businesses and it does violate the Constitution, that's great. Prove it. If he put it into trusts and had other people run it for him, I don't think it violates anything. And why are we going after Trump for that? I mean, it's getting ridiculous. Now that the Russian narrative is pretty much dead, they have to drum up something else. They tried to drum up that he has Alzheimer's. And they were talking about Alzheimer's the whole time. And Nancy Pelosi was, he's got Alzheimer's. Talk about Alzheimer's, Nancy. You have lost it in the last 5-10 years. Completely lost it. So, yeah, that's the next thing, I guess, about Trump's businesses. They need something. They need something to overthrow the duly elected president of the United States. Wait a minute. Is that legal to overthrow a president of the United States? To search and make up evidence and make up stories to overthrow the president of the United States? Why aren't these people going to jail? I think they should all go to jail. But that's me. And I live in, 5 miles away from the most radical Antifa land of the world, Berkeley, California. It's crazy out there, my friends. All right, JP Morgan, more tech wreck pain coming. Yes. Will the stock market crash? I'm not so sure. Because Steve Mnuchin has his finger on the mouse of the computer rigging operation, he could send the Dow to 50,000, 100,000, 100 million. There is no number that is the secret number that is kind of where they stop. They stop when the banks crash and the derivative implosion goes off. A big thing in Europe, in Spain, with Banco Popular crashing, the first cocoa bonds were triggered. That's a huge derivative red flag, and that's going off right now in Europe. The ISDA, the people who determine whether a derivative triggering event has happened, ruled that yes, that is a derivative triggering event. So then it takes 3 to 4 weeks for those derivatives to settle out, and all the other derivatives start blowing up because the people who basically insured the cocoa bonds of Banco Popular are losers. And the losers, they were really weak already, and they didn't think they'd ever lose. They thought, no way will the EU allow a cocoa bond to be triggered, but Banco Popular had their cocos triggered. So, anyway, moving on. Personal note right here, GE CEO Jeff Immelt to step down. Yes, Big Square did work for GE Capital at some point in the 1990s, I think 6 years or so, in their finance arm. And GE was an interesting place to work. Emma was with GE, but he wasn't the head guy. It was Jack Welch was the head guy. And they managed earnings every quarter, and they would hide earnings when they had a big announcement of earnings for a quarter, and then they would harvest earnings when they needed more money because they didn't do so well, just to smooth things out. Creative accounting, if you ask me, but hey, that's the way it was. It was not a great place to work. I didn't love it. But in the finance world, you made a lot of money, and you had to do things by the book. at least to a point where they had these special account reps who didn't necessarily have to do things by the book. They used a lot of derivatives. But I worked in the leasing arm for computer equipment. That's how I got my teeth cut on computer equipment in the late 80s, early 90s. Doing the big computer equipment back then was much different. Like now it's all laptops and desktop servers and things like that. Back then I was in charge of the DEC equipment, the Digital Equipment Corporation, big VAX machines, multi-million-dollar machines that we were leasing out to people. And if they came back, it was my job to resell them. So that's how I learned about computers. And then I took that over to a couple other big finance companies, got into the mining industry and financing the big mining equipment, the huge haul trucks and things like that. And that's how I learned about gold and silver. There's your little history lesson on Bix Weir. And I was in there for 25 years about in the finance industry. I did well. And then something was telling me to get out. And then GATA came along. I joined GATA. And then a couple years ago, I quit the whole finance industry and did Road to Ruta full time. Thank God I did. And I've helped a lot of people, hopefully, and explained why things are going up, why they're going down, how the markets are rigged. Luckily, the cryptocurrencies came around. It wasn't easy to understand at the beginning. And some people are struggling with it now. Don't worry about it. Just buy some and sit back and wait. Don't look at the price every day. And everybody out there who's looking at the price every day, trying to figure out which alt currency to play with, and you know who you are. You know who you are, Mr. San Diego. Just buy the big ones and relax. This is going to be around for a long, long time, and you don't want to keep yourself up at night. All right? All right? Horn of Z's, sip of coffee. All right, that's the news for today. Bix Weir, roadtoruta.com. Very important that you subscribe to these videos because I'm going to have a lot of crypto news coming. There's a lot of new coins coming out. It's a really exciting time. I'll try to keep you guys abreast of what I know and what I hear. And right now, I'd say buy Ether with both hands. Yes, I know it's gone up a lot, but it's going to go up a lot more. And it's going to be volatile. It could, the other thing with all these cryptos is, who knows if the computer technology, the language in these coins, the program even works. A lot of these you don't even know. Some of these coins are just scams. And there's hiccups all the way. Look at Bitcoin. They've announced Bitcoin's death over 100 times. They will announce Ethereum's death over 100 times. I guarantee you. You just got to ride it out and ride it out and ride it out and take profits. Every time you double, take 10% and put it into silver. 10% of your profits. This is a great move because you'll be sitting there with a stack of silver that you bought at very low prices. And until the silver manipulation ends, keep buying silver. And then when it ends, you can sail off into the good night. You'll want to sell your silver at some point, but not in the next 5 or 10 years. But 10 to 15, 15 to 20, yeah, probably. No, history has silver being used as money for thousands of years. True. Yeah, that's true. Silver and gold have been used as money, as the fallback money for thousands of years. But Bitcoin wasn't around. Cryptocurrencies weren't around. In the future, will silver and gold be always used as money? No, it won't. There's smarter ways to go about it, and you can fight it all you want, you old gold bugs, and you old silver bugs. You can fight it all you want, but the world is changing, and you got to change with it. So, yes, get some silver, get some cryptos, and then fight the fight. We'll talk to you later.